Welcome, I'm Bri the Builder, and today I am going to be modeling my character's sidekick, Moose. Alright, so that's our puppy dog, Moose. He's a super good boy. He is obviously border collie, but something else, and we're not sure exactly what. But, so this is, I think Scruffy was his name, from Bob the Builder. So there's some great things about Scruffy. I love his giant feet. I love his big floppy ears, but the shape of his head just isn't right to me for my sidekick Moose. So we're going to be kind of just using the idea of some of that and still getting Moose to fit more with, obviously that still fits with the character, but I want Moose to look a little different. So, I also did a little bit of research, let's keep that open, on essentially like bone structure, skeletal structure for dogs, to make sure I have at least an understanding of how that underlying structure works, so that when I'm building the mesh, and I'm not obviously going to really worry about realistic proportions, but I still should have an understanding of the underlying structure, because it is at some point going to be rigged, probably not really animated per se, but at least rigged for posing. And some of that can be kind of tweaked and fixed after, but again, it does go back to easier, better to have a good understanding of how everything works in the first place. So if we want to kind of mess around and play with breaking structure, we have a good idea of why and how to do it effectively. Alright, so I'm winging it. I really don't have a real solid plan for exactly what I want Moose to look like. I do know I want his proportions to essentially be opposite of this, as far as his head goes, but the body's not too bad here. So, no matter what, as far as the whole process goes, I'm going to be box modeling this, and size-wise, it's not really an issue because it's not going to be 3D printed or anything like that. So I'm just going to kind of get my proportions where I want them, and I don't really care about units. I could even go into unit setup and just switch to generic units, because really essentially the units themselves just don't matter. And I do personally tend to round things off at this stage, and not for any other reason than it just seems to give me a good starting point for everything that way. So as I get going here, it's going to be, let's switch this to center. That really should be, it is based on the object's pivot point. So, in that case, I'm going to make the object in the top view so that the pivot point's on the bottom and the center is essentially in the center, left to right and front to back. So I don't really care about where it is, top to bottom. That's going to go away eventually anyway. But again, I think proportionally this will what was that, 80 and 30, I think. No, it would have been the other way though. It would have been 30 here and then 40 here, because we switched to that. Makes more sense. Alright, now center. Let's turn on edge faces. And as a starting point, that's fine. I really can convert it to an editable poly at this point, and start kind of breaking it up. Because really at some point, I'm not going to need one half or the other. So I'll probably just focus, right? I'll delete all that, and I'll just make this half. Kind of go from there. So, yeah. Well, that did not work correctly. Alright, so the Boolean operation definitely did not go as planned, because that was trying to retopologize 600 objects. So there's a whole bunch of little teeny tiny pieces left over from the Boolean. So we're getting rid of that guy. This guy is close. He's cute, definitely not quite there. Right, I want him taller here, a little narrower through the width here. But I was kind of hoping to get a good clean mesh out of this to kind of go back and start from again. But I think I am going to see about just kind of doing a little bit more cleanup with him as is, and then not necessarily worrying about having it one complete mesh. There's really no reason the ears need to be part of that, but I do need to kind of smooth things out and adjust it a little bit more. But he's close. I like him. He's definitely too high res, so I need to get that down a little bit. I wanted to up it for sculpting, but now that he's this high res, I'm going to try at least to pro optimize and see if I can't get a cleaner mesh. Yeah, none of that really matters too much. So I might just be able to retopologize this. The retopology tool likes a really messy mesh. Now, even if this doesn't like join these elements and they all stay separate pieces, but I end up getting a cleaner mesh out of it, I'm okay with that too. It's a little strange, but overall, that's a really nice mesh. So we're gonna go with that. We will hide the original. Alright, and then the retop moose actually looks pretty darn good. Let's Turn off the wireframe. And just doing the retop took out some of the bulgy. So we're going to be able to go in and actually do a little more cleanup on him pretty easily. And adjust some of those edges. But this is definitely long enough for now. I want to kind of get back in after I do a little bit more adjusting to the mesh. And I'll make another video. Or depending on how much this compresses down. There's going to be more of me adding bones to him so that I can actually rig him and pose him. Alright, so that might be in just a second, but it might be in another video. So as a just kind of quick update, I did go in and just make some minor adjustments and kind of rounded out his cheek a little bit. And I did have to fix a little gap that was in his chin. And other than that, really didn't do much to kind of clean up the model. I did also, as you can see, bring in my own character model as a kind of scale size reference. I did find when I brought them in that the character model was built at a much larger scale. So to bring him into the Moose file, Biped doesn't like to scale like that, so I just threw away the bones. So he's just standing in his T-pose. To finish all of this, the Moose model will have to be brought into the rigged character file and then scaled up to fit the character before he's rigged. You really don't want to rig or scale a mesh, I should say, after it's been rigged. It's really a bad idea. If you're using CAT, the CAT system does allow you to do scaling after the fact, but most rigs don't really like to be scaled. So, as a general rule, it's a good idea to just build things all at the same scale so you don't have to worry about it. So it really won't be a problem for this, right? The dog moose model will be brought into the character's file, scaled up accordingly, and then rigged, and then there's no issues whatsoever. So, that being the case, Moose will be textured and rigged in a future video, and I'm pretty sure the texturing and rigging will probably be two separate videos. To unwrap and paint him will be one video for sure, no problem. The unwrapping for him will go pretty fast. Being able to do like viewport painting in 3ds Max isn't the best thing in the world, but it's pretty good. There are definitely other tools that are far better than Max's viewport painting, but for this, it'll work just fine, and then I don't need any additional tools. And if I do a nice job unwrapping him, that material can be edited easily in Photoshop. So that said, thanks for watching. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe, and you can check out the future videos and kind of see the progress of where all of this is going. And hopefully soon enough, Moose will be hopping around all joyfully. That is an animation, I don't know. We'll see. I'm not necessarily going to need that kind of animation for any of my stuff, but we'll see. It could be kind of fun to do some of that. All right, so anyway, thanks for watching. Again, hit that like button, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.